Ty pierwszy. All right. Okay, hello everyone. We are really happy to be here. My name is Oksana Szmygol.
I'm Tomasz Jurecki.
And we come to you from Studio Otwarte, all the way from Krakow, Poland.
Actually, just behind the mountains.
Yeah, not so far away. But you know, it's a windy ride. So we are Branding Studio, and we've been around for quite a while, since 2006, which makes it 16 years, so a lot of time. And we are just 5 people right now, which puts us somewhere in the medium-sized graphic design studio in Poland. That's how it looks. And throughout all these years, we designed lots of brands. It's 200 plus. Obviously, this is a long time, so some people in Poland actually see us as pioneers in branding design. We always, from the very beginning, concentrated on identity design, but it's easy to be the first, and it's kind of harder to, stay afloat because the industry changed immensely throughout all these years, and we somehow managed. And I think that this is the way that we keep evolving and adapting to the industry of branding that kept us somewhere near the top.
So our name is Studio Otwarte, and it means open studio. When we joined with Oksana, the studio, the name was obviously already there, but only recently we started to reflect more about our work, about our process, and noticed that this openness kind of defines us. We can define ourselves through this openness.
And this is actually probably something which makes us, we try to be unique. And this is what made us, stay at the industry for all those years. So
yeah, the openness we understand in various different ways. And today we will talk about our work and our process through that lens, basically.
Yep. So the first one, for us, mainly openness means versatility, and this is something which helped us to keep the portfolio fresh and versatile, because we take on very different subjects, and we actually love to explore new territories. And these subjects, so lots of brands which we designed, are from different industries, different scale, and they vary under these different aspects. First of them, as I said, is scale. So here you will see 2 projects which are, one of them is the corporate identity of the city. It's the city of Rybnik, so more or less 150,000 square feet, not feet, kilometers. And the other one is a housing estate in Krakow, so just a tiny point on the map. For both of them, we designed a corporate identity and signage system, and what's interesting is that the scope of work was the same, but the focus was different. So in the city, of course, the most important thing is to keep the system consistent across the city. And in the housing estate, we could actually focus on the detail, go into the materials. We designed metalwork for each floor. What else? We designed so far 3 corporate identities for the cities. So this is also something we are kind of known for. And what we always do is we design the heraldic logo. So we don't feel like the city needs something new because they already have these historic symbols. So this is one of them for Rybnik. And of course, lots of other stuff. City identities needs many parts of their design.
Yeah, we work both with huge companies, huge corporations. Here we have Ringier Axel Springer, for example, who are a big media company, media and tech company. And on the other hand, we also work for the people who are smaller and are family-owned businesses. In one, we have various layers of departments and initiatives, and from the other hand, we have different flavors of apple juice.
Just apple juice. Another two projects which are completely different from each other. One of them was for this farmers cooperative, so like the actual huge cooperative of different farmers who deal with fruit and vegetables in Poland, and they wanted to have this open identity system which each individual farmer could use, and the goal was to make people basically eat more greens. And on the other hand, we have a startup. So this is just a small innovative app which deals with easy returns, universal return system. So what's interesting here, I think, is that both projects are consumer-oriented, but they have this very different atmosphere and character. So one of them is quite cheerful, very emotional, and the other one is this tech, a little bit futuristic. And the scale is similar, but then a very different style.
Yeah, and sometimes the key audience differs very much. Like here we have a Catholic religious congregation, and on the other side we have tech specialists. And for example, they both need their attire, they both need their swag. So we, for example, designed their pilgrim set, and on the other hand, we designed a set for a hacker.
Now, different industries. We do quite a lot of work for culture. Here on one side you can see the Polish Book Institute. We designed lots of materials for them, so the whole corporate identity. And on the other side you have this big heavy industry company which deals with rails and steel. And the cool thing about all these versatile different subjects and different industries is that inside the whole identity you have this different media which you have to design. So for the Polish Book Institute, we could do some gifts, and we came up with this idea to make very popular T-shirts with Polish authors. And on the other side, this was the life dream come true for one of our designers who's actually a graffiti master, graffiti artist. So it was the first time he could actually paint the train legally.
Yeah, so also in terms of scale, we work for mass-produced Polish famous alcohol brand, which is like pop yet elegant. But on the other hand, we also work for the smaller company, locally grown and made pickles. They are like gently hip.
Okay, so when we have different subjects which we can choose from, we usually choose the new one because we like to explore the new industry. But sometimes in seemingly similar projects, we can actually also go the other way, because obviously each brand needs its personality. And here, both of the projects are for a very traditional Polish product. One of them is canola oil, and the other one is compote, so just basically fruit, sugar, and water. And what we did in both of them is we used quite different styles, even though both of them are illustrative, but one illustrations are rooted inside the Polish Art Deco, and the other ones are also inspired by the past, but actually times of our childhood. So this is like the badass neighborhood style from somewhere like Nowa Huta, which is a part of Krakow, which is more badass than the other ones. And we did those illustrations with our left hands to make it really like crooked, and yeah, you can see.
Yeah, because with the right hand it would be too nice, of course.
Okay, so of course also you can see that the differences are everywhere. We don't just do the packaging, we also do the whole communication, and here we have a chance to work with different photographers, get really different styles. Here you can have these like very elegant photos, and on the other hand you can experiment and make these quotations from our pictures, how we looked like when we were kids, and this is how it works.
Yeah, sometimes the subjects are quite similar. Here are two apps that deal with the workflow and productivity, but one is more focused on professionals and kind of an insider thing, and the other one is more focused on general audience. So with one we could go like brutally technical, and on the other side with UKO we could do some more playful and colorful designs.
Next thing, we deal with typography differently, depending on the client, of course. Another city we designed is Skawina, and here we had this idea that it's always a big problem to use commercial fonts when you design for a city, especially a small town. So we had this idea to use the defaults, Arial and Times, and it makes all officials in this city very happy because it's really easy to use. But I think we made it work. And on the other hand, we have this theater in Krakow, which is famous because it's been there for like a couple of 100 years. But now it's quite experimental. So here, within the typography, we could seek for something more decorative. But then on the other hand, we did this hand-drawn, actually hand-graffitied slogans. And here's how it works.
Yeah, we also work for the industry's most feared clients. So we work for architects and we work also for other designers. So with the architects, we kind of approach the subjects from a different than usual side. Instead of like slick renders, we decided to focus more on the flexibility. With the designers, we focused more on the narrative and tried to do as little design as possible and just focus on words.
So, of course, we do all this to learn. I mean, we choose these different subjects to explore new territories. And as you could see before, we don't stick to one style, which is very cool because we can actually go different directions. And we do all this because we are very curious, just personally. And we take on challenges and take risks, go out of our comfort zones, and sometimes, honestly, we take on projects which are like too big for us or require the set of skills which we don't have yet. And this is why this is a set of skills we used to have, let's say, 5 or 6 years ago, and now it's completely broadened. So we do much more than we used to, just because we went into this like big new projects and try to explore these new territories. And right now we do deal with the brand from the very beginning, so we start with a strategy. And sometimes, most of the times we work with these strategists, but we also now have the knowledge to do a basic strategy ourselves. We deal with naming, storytelling, sound design, video production, and all of this we learned along the way. So we really like learning new stuff. But honestly, most of the time we do it just for fun. So we go to these courses, we do calligraphy, and sometimes we experiment with sound. We do it for particular projects when we need something, but we also just go around and seek inspiration. So yeah, curiosity requires us to seek inspiration everywhere, and we mostly love going to graphic design conferences like this one. They're super exciting. So yeah, but sometimes we also try to seek in different territories, and this is something which is really cool, and I think we love seeking somewhere other than design, so going out of this design bubble. We go to trips, we explore nature, museums, stroll around new cities, and we try to use Pinterest as little as possible and search for visual references also somewhere else. So we never actually use Pinterest to get the colors, as you can see here. Another thing, which is quite crucial, and this is something about our team. So we feel that we are all equal. We have this flat structure, actually. From the 5 of us right now, we have 4 creative directors and 1 project manager. But honestly, it works the way that there is not one person who decides and approves everything, but we either take responsibility one by one, or we usually actually take these decisions all together. But then again, the fact that we are so small makes us, we have to do like multidisciplinary stuff. And yeah, we also have a lot of hobbies, which sometimes
help in the process.
They do. And yeah, sometimes we have to do something which usually junior designers would do, or something which is completely out of our profession. So we've been designing for Jewish Culture Festival for some years, and we actually had to stick posters at some point. And this is just one of the examples. Now, the important thing about this equality is that it actually works in a legal way. So we are a partnership. Almost all of us are partners, so we are basically like Pentagram, but just 100 times smaller. And this is a structure which is in Poland similar to law firms. 4 of us are partners, and we want to take more partners in the future. This is a cool thing because it makes you like fully engaged inside the company. You don't feel that you work for somebody, but you actually work like together as a whole team. Yeah. And we like spending time with each other, and that's why 4 of us out of 5 actually spent together more than 10 years. So we've been around quite stably, and this is something which doesn't really happen. And I think this is also why, because we experiment so much, so we just don't get bored.
Yeah, we like making friends, of course. For example, we meet oftenly with our industry, with other designers, with other design companies. With our competition, we share knowledge. We talk about how they approach their things that we do, how we approach the things that they do. How, for example, pricing works, etc.
Because the industry is actually quite small when you think about it in Poland, and we try to learn from each other to keep some kind of standards.
Yes.
So, which works for the mutual benefit of all of us.
Sometimes we also become friends with our clients and build like everlasting relationships and make them our regular clients. And sometimes even them for working with us for such a long time, they perceive us as a part of their team as well. We are quite committed, I think, and within reason, of course. Like we tend to stay over after hours when the situation needs it. We wake up early to finish presentations for the conferences when it's needed. But also, for example, we take trips abroad for inspiration. For example, during 27th Jewish Culture Festival, the main topic was Jerusalem. So it was the logical thing to do to go to Jerusalem with the festival for inspiration.
To actually experience the city. And you can see it worked quite well. We actually find the inspiration on the streets.
Yeah. And some other time, the topic of Jewish Culture Festival was the dream of Zion, and we decided to go to the desert, and we wandered around the desert with our trolley bags for 40 years.
And we made this like dreamy holographic design, which actually brought a little bit of a desert to the streets of Krakow.
So yeah, we are building also relationships by our commitment with our clients. We've been working, for example, with Jewish Culture Festival since 2013, and we are still doing it at the moment. So yeah, it was 9 years?
9 years. All right. Another important thing, this is more about our project manager. We are quite sincere. So our project manager is the one who usually talks, and he talks with the clients a lot. And he's very sincere. And being sincere and speaking his mind sometimes requires saying no, actually. So the client approaches us, and Mirek talks to the client for 2 hours, and then he says no. And It depends. Like there are different situations, but sometimes the moment in the history of this brand is just not right to cooperate with us. And we have many situations when these clients actually come back to us after a couple of years. They come back to us and say they're ready. We are also sincere with the feedback, so we discuss things with the clients which we don't like or don't agree with. And so far it works great because we just do what we think is right. The last thing, which is very important and will develop it further, is flexibility. So this is something that's about the fact that we changed a lot in our work for the last couple of years. And one thing we did change is the process. So before that, for let's say first 10 years, we always kept the same process. First step was briefing, then came debriefing, and then we went into our graphic design caves for like a month or so, and we designed 3 or 4 or 2 set full concepts, starting with the logo, going into other materials, so like 15 slides each. And we came to the client and presented it, and of course, sometimes they took one, sometimes they wanted to mix, which is like a terrible thing. And sometimes they actually didn't like anything, so we had to go all the way back to the beginning. Huge waste of time. And in the recent years, we worked with many software houses, and we learned something new. So this new method is a sprint process. And this works in a way that we can actually adapt this process to each particular client, because it works in steps, and these steps can be different. We want to show you a case study to show the process, and this is a branding for a firm, for a company which is called Lecta, and they create sound, voice, and text bots. So they do with they deal inside the conversational AI. We worked with them for about 6 steps. Those steps are from 1 week to 2 weeks long, and these are sprint sessions. So we meet each of these steps and discuss what we did so far with the client. And depending on their feedback, we proceed to the next step. And it works quite well. So the first step.
So we basically usually start with the analysis. We look at similar companies, companies that do similar stuff. At this particular example, it was like other companies that made chatbots, and we look at trends. What are the most common used ways of how the key visual works, and what are their big ideas behind their companies. And it's sometimes to like avoid those trends, but sometimes we also use those trends to make something more familiar and not scary for the client. Also, we analyze, like in this particular example, we analyzed how they looked at that moment, because it was a rebranding. And here we have to be delicate, of course, and point out what works, what doesn't work, and how we can use like what they built already in the future. To sum up those analyses, we usually come up with directions of where to go and where not to go. And clearly, for us, all the anthropomorphic robots that are metaphors for IT were a clear no-no. And all the companies that took the direction of like the seamless blending of IT with the lifestyle was a clear green light.
So the second step is, once we analyzed all the competition, we can actually understand the brand better. And this is when we try to find what is unique here and what are the benefits which actually work for this brand best. So we present our thoughts, and of course, as I said, each of these steps is actually engaging the whole team from the side of the client, so they can bring something in. Here we pointed out some benefits, and then we went to, in the same step, we went to creating a big idea, so the creative idea behind the whole brand. So before we ever touch the design, before we go into the mood boards, we actually think about this. It's some kind of a metaphor, something which is the most important in this brand and what can translate its best benefits. So here we had 3 ideas. First of them based in the science, so the language technology science. Lecta is deeply rooted inside it. One of the partners is a researcher. And we thought about the ways how we can broadcast the fact that they are professionals and researchers in the design. So we thought about these phonetic transcriptions and the encyclopedia style. The second one, what we realized is the best chat and voice bots are built when they are very natural. Like you talk to the bot and you feel like he or her or it. It's very natural, you don't feel the technology. So we felt that this metaphor of a river that flows, finds a way, overflows the obstacles, is something which is very good and to the point in this topic. And the third one was contrasting the technology and human and showing in different shapes, so soft and hard, for example, geometric, and again, this humanist organic, how they work together and how this technology blends in and tries to fit in with the human.
Yeah, but all the basically all the ideas were around this kind of humanistic thing that we wanted to show the science in a most natural way possible.
The technology. So the client chose one of the ideas, the river, and then we went into the exploring of graphic design, finally. So this is where we touched our
yeah, this
tablets.
is probably the moment when we together brainstorm and come up with as many ideas how to show at this example the river through ideas, through design. Like for example, we can just show the river. Show the photos of the river. We can do schematics, like geographic ones. We can show like mixing of currents of the river. We can focus on this. Go back one. Oh, sorry. We can focus on the adjustment of the currents. We can focus on how the water reflects reality, how it overflows and how it goes around the obstacles, the sound waves and the similarity to the waves of the water, how the river and the water is dynamic, the kind of the mysterious alchemist touch to the water, go deeper, for example, go to the atoms and see those atoms blending, or simply just use simple gradients to talk about water, or do some wavy, bendy typography similar to the waves of the water.
So this is basically the moment when we try to squeeze out all the ideas, like everything which we can do to show the water and the river. And after showing this mood board, like doing this brainstorming, we go into creating these very simple key visuals. So we do not actually develop the concepts so far just yet, but we sketch them in a way that the client's team can feel what resonates and what doesn't. And this is great because we can try different styles, we can show those different styles, but we do not have to like waste time to actually develop it before it ever gets approved.
Yeah, sometimes here we don't even think about the logo yet. Sometimes it's just a name, and that's a step that we think about later.
So we put the Lecta in Helvetica, and this is just like, yeah, we don't have to think about it. And what happens next is usually the client's team chooses Sometimes they choose one because it just works, but most of the times they choose two styles. And when we have those two ideas, we can finally develop them further into this more or less full concepts, so on the level that we showed them before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So the concept. So this is when we start with the logo. And here the idea for the logo was very simple. It was typographic. So just mix in serif and sans serif to show the technology and the human. Also, by this time, we already have the brand story discussed with the client. So we know what are the most important things that we want to show and tell about the brand. So this is why we think about ways of communicating them. So for example, when we show the photos and the style of photography, we already think about different subjects which we want to show through them. And then we develop a couple of slides, the key visual, some basic materials. So we do it on the level that this is actually representative and the client's team can decide from this point. The second concept, as you can see, was kind of a mix of the first creative idea and the second. So we have here this schematic river, but we also have the logo which comes from this phonetic transcription. So a simple idea with the square brackets.
It's the interesting thing is that this idea was of the phonetic thing was rejected by the client at the beginning, but they really strongly said that they liked it. So when we found a way to mix
two of them,
the two of them, we took this change.
And yeah, also here, this first brainstorming and thinking about how the water works and how it is similar to the technology in this way helped us to broaden the set of the illustrations, because we show the sound waves, we show the river, but we also show this overflowing of the obstacles. And this is the point when the concept gets chosen. So this is the chosen one. And from here on, we go to the next sprint. So in another 2 weeks, we met with them again and we showed the final creation.
So basically, that's the moment when we started to work on the details. Here, we developed the logo fully. We took care about the grid systems. We took care about various types of illustrations, and we made a simple brand book. Basically, all the concept was ready to be used.
And then comes implementation, and this is where it doesn't always work in terms of sprints, because this is the point when you really need the materials from the client, and sometimes it takes more than 2 weeks. So we wanted to have more fun with this concept, and this is when we started to look for somebody to cooperate with. We wanted to make the river generative, so we came to another agency in Poland. They are called Pan Generator, and they do generative design. And they made this river interact with the user.
This is still a prototype. Oh yeah, this is still a prototype. So yeah.
Yeah. So next we do, of course, we design the web page. We go into all this fun stuff, which is the office design, all the merch, which the clients love. And this goes on for another couple of weeks. And now we're done. So yeah, this is all about our process. And we are actually open for questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Come and have a seat.